The soundbar with Alexa built in. Sonos Beam Review. This is episode number 10.
Welcome to the 1 Hour Smart Home Podcast,
helping you make your life better
using automation and technology, with your host, James Both.
All right. Thank you for being here for episode number 10. If you want to find more information about the Sonos soundbar, you can go to our show notes link. We also have some sound tests there, some YouTube videos that we did, so go ahead and click on those. If you want to support us, if you're going to buy a Sonos soundbar, go ahead and click on the links in the show notes. That does help support this program. Also, you can find our products that work with Alexa, including the Sonos soundbar, on Amazon.com. Just search 1hoursmarthome.com and you can see our smart light switches and our smart plugs that work with Alexa to allow you to control your home with voice. Now let's get started. The Sonos Beam is one of the new soundbars that just came out from Sonos. So I've got my entire house wired up with Sonos speakers, Sonos Ones, and I just got a Sonos Beam. So I wanted to test this because I had a Sonos Playbar before, and I wanted to see if the Sonos Beam was the same sound quality as the Sonos Playbar, which is a little bit larger. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the Sonos Beam. So the original Playbar was launched a couple years ago, and the Sonos Beam actually came out in 2018, right around the holiday season. The Sonos Beam is designed to be a soundbar that will work with your existing TV to provide rich audio, but it also doubles as a streaming music player, just like any other Sonos device. So what that means is that you can stream Spotify, Amazon Music, whatever you want to stream through your Sonos speaker, it will double as a sound system. Now, in my setup, I actually have a Sonos Beam paired with two Sonos Play Ones, which are the smaller speakers, to create a surround sound environment. Now, that is something that you can actually do with the Sonos Beam, is create a surround sound system with the Beam. Now, the Beam, why I like it a little bit more than the Playbar after testing it out, and literally I had these two speakers next to each other. We had a client that was getting a Playbar, and I had a Sonos Beam, so I plugged these two in together and did a sound test to see, was the sound quality on the Sonos Beam as good as the Sonos Playbar? And the answer is, for the most part, yes. The sound quality in the mid-range and the high ranges sounded incredible on both speakers. And what surprised me the most is that the Sonos Beam actually had very good bass. The Sonos Playbar does have a little bit more bass to it, but the Beam did a great job for any TV watching and music listening, and is going to perform better than pretty much any other sound system that has streaming capabilities and Alexa built in, like the Beam. The Sonos Beam has 4 drivers in it, 1 center tweeter, and 3 passive radiators. And those 3 passive radiators create deep, rich bass sound, which you wouldn't expect from a product this small. The Beam is significantly smaller than the Playbar and can be easily mounted underneath any TV. But why I like the Beam most is that it has Alexa built in. That means that you don't have to have another Alexa device like an Echo Dot or an Echo Show anywhere near your TV, because the Beam has Alexa built into it. That means that you can do voice commands like, Alexa, turn off the lights, Alexa, turn on the lights, Alexa, adjust my thermostat, right to the Beam. And what really impressed me about the Beam is that those Alexa commands came in loud and clear, meaning the Beam could listen to me from far away. I was on the second floor, and we have our Beam installed downstairs, and I had all the other Alexa devices muted because I was trying to record a podcast, and the Beam actually heard me from upstairs while I was talking. The microphone on the Sonos Beam, I don't know how they achieved it, but is much better than any of the other Alexa devices in terms of listening to your voice and hearing your command. It is truly incredible. So why I like this is because you get the Alexa device built in, which you would pay, let's just say $100 for if you were going to buy a separate Alexa. But then you also get the Sonos speaker quality built in. And just even though the lowest price Sonos speaker starts at like $150, $200. And you also have the soundbar feature. So you really have 3 devices all packed into one with great sound. Now, some people, if you look online, will say that it doesn't have rich enough bass. I actually had a Playbar next to it. There's a YouTube video that's going to be in the show notes link. You can watch that video and see if you can actually hear the difference between the two. Most people are not going to be able to hear the difference. And I would say if you want more bass, you could always add a Sonos bass. They have a bass speaker, which is nothing but that. It's called a Sonos Sub. And that just plugs into the wall, and you can put that anywhere if you wanted to build a surround sound system. Or if you just add surround sound speakers like I did with the Sonos Ones or the Sonos Play One, you're going to get a little bit richer sound quality because it's coming at you from all different angles. Now, we're going to go into a couple of the other features and just how you interact with this. So, one of the things that I like, obviously, you can stream music from your phone. You can pair it with different rooms, which what it means for my house is I have Sonos in multiple levels. I can pair that so all the music is playing the same music throughout the house, or I can have the Sonos Beam, which is paired with the surround sound system, playing only that music in that area and have the other speakers off, or I can have different music down there or different music upstairs all at once. But what is also nice, it has AirPlay 2 functionality. That means that if you have music on your iPhone or the iTunes store, you're going to have native control from your iPhone to just swipe up and basically start playing music right to your Sonos. Not all speakers have AirPlay functionality. Obviously, it's going to work with Android as well, and you can always just use the Sonos app, but the AirPlay functionality means that you're able to just stream music straight from your phone. No issues, native integration with the Sonos controller. So that's a nice feature for some of you that are iPhone users. The style, I like the styling of this thing. It's got smooth, round edges. It looks nice. I ended up getting one in white. You can get it in white or black. It's a nice piece of technology and nice design. It's going to fit in anywhere. The controls on it has a capacitive touchscreen. It's not a touchscreen in the sense that like a tablet or a phone touchscreen, but it's all capacitive, one solid color white, and it's got volume up and down controls on it, play stop controls, and an Alexa mute button if you want to mute the Alexa functionality. The other thing that is actually kind of crazy about this and why I love Sonos speakers and why I recommend them over other competing sound systems, it doesn't have it yet, but in the future, you'll be able to get an over-the-air update that will allow Siri and Google Home functions to be built into the Sonos Beam. That's what's great about Sonos is just like a Tesla, they provide over-the-air updates to make their products better. So over time, you're going to be able to have more functionality, more features with the Sonos Beam than a competing non-smart speaker. And that's what I love about the Sonos ecosystem. So they are going to have an update that will allow Google Home to be built in to the Sonos Beam, as well as Siri will be built in to the Sonos Beam. This functionality will just happen one day. You'll get an update, and all of a sudden, your phone is going to have your Sonos Beam is going to have built-in functionality with those two different services. Now, here's one of the things that I saw made the biggest difference for my room, and that is another feature unique to Sonos. They have what's called True Play calibration, and you can do this with the standalone Beam, or you can do it as part of a surround sound system. I found that it made the biggest difference for the surround sound system that I have set up, and it was amazing. The True Play calibration, what it does is it takes your microphone on your Apple iPhone, and you click the button in the app on Sonos. It says True Play Tuning. You walk around your room, and your iPhone is recording a variety of different noises, sending that data to Sonos, and it's custom tuning your speaker to your specific room. It takes all that data. You literally wave the phone up and down, walk slowly throughout your room, and the Sonos is putting out these chirps for about a minute, and it's calibrating all the different acoustics of that room to tune it so wherever you're sitting, wherever you're walking through your room, you're going to hear the best possible audio that you can. And the True Play is always collecting data. It gets better with time. And I noticed probably 2 or 3 days after I had the True Play set up, I was amazed at just how clear the sound is and how nice it sounds to have that immersive sound from the Sonos Beam and the surround sound speakers. Don't get me wrong, you don't have to have surround sound speakers. The Beam is great as a standalone device. That is just an option if you want it. Now, how the Sonos Beam connects to your TV is through an HDMI port. The Playbar and some of the other soundbars use an optical port. HDMI is much easier to connect. Pretty much every TV has an HDMI port on it, and extra HDMI ports, and there's some added functionality when you use the HDMI port. With the HDMI port connected to your TV, you can actually use the soundbar to control your TV with some limited commands. And I'm sure they'll probably add to the amount of commands that you can do with your TV, but HDMI to your TV allows two-way communication. So what that means is that you can actually tell your Sonos soundbar, Alexa, turn on the TV, and it will turn on your TV. Or you can say, Alexa, turn off the TV, and it will turn up, or it will turn off your TV. You can also control the volume with Alexa voice commands. So for some people, that is a really nice feature. I love it because sometimes I'll turn the TV on, I go start doing something else, and I've left it on and I'm not near the remote control. So now when I walk by, I can just say, Alexa, turn off the TV, which is a really great feature and something I think a lot of people will find adds functionality to it. Now, what you need to know about surround sound with any Sonos product or the Sonos Beam is that when you connect something to your TV, and this isn't every TV, but a particular brand, a particular manufacturer is notorious for this, and you can do the research yourself on this and if your TV is compatible. But when a TV gets an input from your cable box, your satellite box, whatever you're using, it takes that and then it outputs the sound to the HDMI. Well, some of TVs dumb down the sound for processing, so instead of getting true 5.1 surround sound, which may be coming from your cable box and into your TV, they dumb it down to something that's surround sound like, that will still sound good, but it isn't going to export that to the Sonos Beam. And this is not just to the Sonos Beam, this is to any type of soundbar or surround sound system. So you want to make sure if you are looking at a TV or your existing TV to get the most out of your surround sound system, that you have a TV that supports throughput of that sound at full 5.1 surround sound. And Sony TVs, they do that. They actually take the full audio in and output the full audio out. So whatever you get is going to work great. And there are some Sony TVs that actually work with Alexa. So we'll put a link to those below, but just something to know. There's a couple brands that have this issue where they dumb down the sound, but Sony is one of them that does not do that. So you're going to get the best quality sound on them. Overall, if you're looking at a new speaker or a new Playbar for your TV, or let's say you're looking for a Sonos for a living room and you don't have anything there, I would highly recommend, if you've got a TV in there, going with the Sonos Beam, because if you're already planning on buying a streaming speaker, you're going to have better sound out of the Beam than if you were to just buy a Sonos One, and it's going to support using your TV as a sound bar. and it's got Alexa built in, just like the Sonos One. So it's a really versatile speaker, and at the price point lower than the Playbar, it's a great option for sound. Now, if you're like a crazy audiophile and you just really want the Playbar, that's great. The Playbar is also a good option. It just doesn't have Alexa built in. It doesn't have an HDMI connection, and it's a lot larger than the Sonos Beam is. So I think the Sonos Beam just looks nice. It's compact. It doesn't overwhelm the TV or your sound system. It just kind of blends into the surroundings. So I personally, after testing both of these, I'm sticking with the Sonos Beam. And people are going to say, well, that's crazy. Why didn't you go with a larger Playbar? Because the room that it's in, I don't need a Playbar. I don't need to blast music at 200 decibels. For listening to DV and listening to music in the standard audio levels that I listen to, it's great. Now, if you have like a room with really high ceilings, or you've got a room that's really open and expansive, maybe you should go with the Soundbar or the Sonos Playbar. But for most people, the Sonos Beam is going to perfectly serve your needs, and the added functionality of Alexa is really what had me sold, and being able to control my TV with on-off command functions and voice, as well as the super easy setup with HDMI. It took me like 2 minutes to set this thing up, and it was working with my TV perfectly, and I had great sound from the TV, great sound when I was playing music, and it was really easy to set up with surround sound, and had all the same features that Sonos is known for on the Sonos app, as well as the True Play tuning and some of the custom features that you can do when you have a surround sound setup with a Playbar and 2 Sonos speakers. So thank you for listening today. This is a little bit shorter episode. Go to the show notes, and if you want to hear a sound comparison, we do have a YouTube video of the 2 of these speakers together where we play them at the same time. We remove the audio from one, we remove the audio from the other, and then we add the audio in from either speaker and see if you can guess which one is which. You'll be surprised at how difficult it is to determine which one sounds quote unquote better. So thank you very much, and we will see you next week. And if you want to support us, go ahead and go to the show notes, click on any of the links there that are going to take you to the Sonos Beam or some of the other products that we use as part of a surround sound system or with the Sonos devices. Online at Amazon.com, just search 1 Hour Smart Home, and you can see our smart plugs, our smart dimmer switches, our smart light switches, and my personal favorite right now that we've got is our dual outlet smart plug, which allows you to take one dumb plug and turn it into 2 smart plugs, control it with Alexa or Google Home. And if you get a Sonos Beam, you can control our smart outlets using Alexa.
Thank you for listening to the 1 Hour Smart Home Podcast. We love our listeners and your feedback. Subscribe to our email list at onehoursmarthome.com, where we share with you the best smart home technology, the latest reviews, tips, and tricks to make your life better. And with that, we'll catch you in the future.